Okay, that's nice. So I've only had mine now for like 2.5.
Yeah.
So and the curse of like of success and also just being achievement oriented. I actually was like, I was talking to my business coach about it. I was like, I think part of the problem here is that I'm so used to being a straight A student that when I get a B, it's like a fucking meltdown.
Yeah. Well, what's an A in your practice? Just
Like
a 20 client wait list?
yeah. It's like being an A in my practice is being full and like having a wait list, or being full and people still reaching out on a consistent basis, like 1 or 2 a week or something, versus I'd rather that versus like 4 contacts like 2 weeks ago and then like nothing.
Are you private pay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole different world because I think majority of practices that are getting consistent inquiries are not private pay. They're insurance.
Yeah.
So having insurance in a practice, it makes the client stream much more of a surplus, but then it creates all those other issues that aren't worth it.
Yeah. Are you private pay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not worth it for me.
Yeah, I had I think it was September. I got 6 or 7 new clients, and then it's just like nothing. I'm like, where are these people? It's very odd. They seem to cluster themselves. It's like they're synchronized.
Suffering is synchronized.
Something. I mean, very weird. It's like, man, I'm gonna have to hire somebody at this rate, but then it's just like nothing once. I guess holidays.
Yeah, well, then it happens and then it dries up, and then that's like I don't have plans right now of hiring anyone. But I think about that. I'm like, well, if I did start a group practice, like I just would have even bigger anxiety that I'd have to like manage even more, or hopefully get better at managing, because I'd be like, I can hire somebody. I just had 20 inquiries in 2 weeks, and then what, you hire somebody and then like it just all dries up, and then you have this mouth to feed.
That's why I would never W-2 an employee in a group practice. I would do private pay 1099, and my rates would be really pretty high, probably from where they came from, and so they would get quite the pay raise, even with like a 70-30 split.
Very generous of you.
I mean, it's a win-win. That's how I would do it. It's like I would probably 70-30, but my rates would be they'd be like 200. And so, especially around here, they would be coming from some group practice or community mental health. And so they'd be making like 3 or 4 times the money they were making where they were and working less.
Yeah.
And it would reduce the pressure. It's like I provide some like website exposure and SEO that's already been present in the ether, but you're ultimately responsible for your own caseload.
Yeah. Are you in Charlotte or just in?
Pretty much. I'm like 30 minutes north Charlotte. There's a lake, Lake Norman.
Oh yeah. So my family is now like clustered in that area ish. And so they went to Lake Norman for a vacation.
Oh wow.
I didn't go. I think that was the year I was meditating.
For the entire year.
I was meditating for the whole summer. And they went during the summer, and I had zero attachments. Like I wasn't renting anything. I was just staying at the meditation center, and I had narrowed down all my belongings to, fit in my car, and I didn't have a job or, I didn't have any commitments, just be there. So when they were going on some family vacation over the summer, I'm like, well, I'm here and I ain't got no money to go do that.
Yeah.
So did not go, but
they live in North Carolina.
Yeah. So my brother moved to North Carolina, and he's in the Research Triangle, I think they call it.
Oh, like Raleigh.
He's close to Raleigh, and then my sister lives in Knoxville, and then my parents just moved to Knoxville.
Oh, nice.
To be close to them. So then they're all, I think it's like a 6-hour drive from my sister to my brothers. So now I'm going to be the one paying thousands in flights to see them, and they don't have to pay shit.
Yeah, it sucks. That's random though. I've lived around Lake Norman my whole life.
Really?
Yeah, my family is there's a town, Troutman, that's 10 minutes north of where I am, and we've been around there for 200 years.
200?
Something like that. I know, like, my 4th great grandparent was born there, like, as far as I can tell.
Back. Are you gonna stay? Like, do you want to intentionally stay there and be in the area where your family's been? And
that's how I mean, pretty much. And then now I have a practice here, so I'm probably not going anywhere. It's taken so long to build.
Have you ever lived anywhere else, or?
No, I've traveled.
Okay.
A lot around internationally during college, but never stayed anywhere too far.
That's so cool. I don't have that, like, at all.
Yeah, it's like unless I'm going to my office, everyone and every place I know is like 10 minutes.
That's really nice. Like, I didn't care that much about that maybe 5 or 10 years ago, but now I'm like, like, I've moved so many times. My family has moved so many times that
there's definitely benefits to moving, exploring, but also just over time it creates a lot of scattered connection.
Yeah, I have a bunch of, like, friends who are just, like, not gonna stay friends, It's like, okay, so I made friends when I was living in Germany, but, like, it's like if I tried to keep all those people, I would have, like, all these people that all the friendships are like catch-up friendships.
Yeah.
Right. And I wouldn't even be able to keep catching up with them. And I'm like, I'm not going to travel to see all you guys. So it's just like every time I move, like, decide if I want to keep one or two and, like, commit myself to that ongoing, like, we're never going to live in the same place again. And now we're just going to take trips and it's going to be catch-up friendship sort of.
How long have you been in? It's Portland or Seattle?
Tacoma, close to Seattle.
Seattle, yeah.
Like, so 3 years now. And I'm not going anywhere because my like you said, my practice is here.
Yep.
And it's such a fucking pain in the ass to
start.
To build.
I guess it wouldn't be, but also I guess I should remember I'd still have a base of virtual if I did start somewhere else. It's not going to be the same as the first time. I think that's the hardest because I had no base of clients at all.
Yeah.
I started with one. Whereas if I moved and started somewhere else, it would be a pain, but I wouldn't be starting with 0.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm not as locked in as I have felt, but
virtual kind of, virtual kind of sucks though. Like, I'm probably 1/3 in person, maybe, and 2/3 virtual. And I don't know. I don't think I get, like, screen fatigue like some people talk about. That they just get tired from looking. They can't do it for too long, but it's more like at the end of the day, like 90 whatever, like some high percentage of the time that I spend talking to other people is through a screen. So just too much of my life is like online relationships, whether it be for work or otherwise, right? Because like I have friends who live in, so it's a phone call, right? Or I'm too tired to go out and like be in person, try to be in person to get some social time with just like another human being after work, after I've been talking to clients for several hours. So then I'm settling for this like online interactions. And then I've just been realizing like, oh my God, like so many of my relationships with others on a closer basis or just on a more casual day-to-day interaction basis are online. And I and probably many other people, I know that now that I'm starved for literally just for in-person connection, just like being in another room with a person.
Well, having a solo practice is definitely very isolating also. So it's like the post-COVID social relationship strain coupled with being in private practice and having the virtual option.
Yeah, which a lot of people want to take.
Because it just feels like less effort. But I mean, yeah, if I were going to a therapist as the client, I definitely would be doing in person because it's highly more effective, I think.
Yeah. My own personal therapy has been online now for years. And now like my current therapist and for part of that time I had zero option to see them in person. And my current therapist I cannot see in person, like highly specialized, and I'm very like happy to work with him. Like I don't regret that at all. But
there's still like a energy connection that can't be mimicked.
Yeah,
I think.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely done like had effective moments in virtual therapy, but the energy's, it's like there's a layer or something in between.
Do you mean as effective? Did you mean like as the client or the therapist or both?
As a therapist, I think I've done like one or two as a client. I was out of town or something. I've never made it like a consistent part of being a client. But yeah, there's definitely something that happens in the therapy room.
Wouldn't it be nice if we could have this in person?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it'd be great. It would be a much more pain in the ass to film it, but yeah.
I feel like our conversation would be better.
Oh yeah, probably. I did one with a guy that's local. He wasn't even a therapist. He's a songwriter I met, and he was like facilitating this open mic I went to, and he had all these really awesome heartfelt stories he'd share in between like his songs. Like, man, this dude needs to be on my podcast. Like he's like a therapist without any training. He has that energy and just very deeply reflective and obviously artistic, and just able to articulate concepts in a way that are very intriguing. But I had him on, and then I recorded a couple of his songs after. That was cool. But that's the only person I've done in person.
Yeah, I wonder what it's like, what energy we miss out on from each other. Like you just feel the other person's energy more, and then I think you just intuitively like have a better sense of them as a person. How does it feel to be around them?
Mm-hmm.
What is like their energetic kind of vibration, right?
Yeah, and it's missing piece that's important that we don't have if we're doing virtual stuff with clients. It's just a guess. It's like, how is this person really outside of just this one little interaction through a virtual space?
Yeah.
Because we're limited anyway. if we experience one in our office, because it's still just like one area, but at least it's
Right.
this like real genuine energy interaction.
Yeah, I've really been I've been enjoying in-person therapy with my clients more lately. And 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 I've really been just enjoying like the genuine relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Not just that you can have that more in person, but also just like in the relationship, just being more of honestly, like I've been learning how to be more vulnerable as a therapist, but not in, I don't know how to describe it. It's like I have been more vulnerable as a therapist, but it doesn't necessarily mean that like I have to self disclose or that I'm really saying anything about myself or very much even.
Right.
But it's more like I've actually been like showing more, I've been emoting more and like holding back my, or not holding back my, like allowing clients to see more of who I am as a person and how I feel
Sure.
or like emote and express. So like instead of having maybe more of like
Flat affect.
yeah, right, exactly. Not having so much of a flat affect and and I'm aware that some of the things that I'm saying or some of the ways that I show feeling are it is a little bit vulnerable for me, but not like super because I feel
Sure.
more and more comfortable within it with myself. But like allowing and showing my clients that like as a person, I'm actually very like emotionally sensitive and like can I can cry like very easily about different things, right? Like not like, oh, I'm crying because I'm sad, right? Because you can cry for many different reasons, but I just
Mm-hmm.
tend to be like a teary person, not a sobby person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm you know what I'm
Just
saying?
bleeding all over everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's that was, yeah. I remember there was a client I had in treatment, and that was where I was pretty much like a purist in terms of being blank slated. And so I would imagine I was a lot more flat and not very reactive to anything that someone had been saying. And he had an aversion to that. So
Right.
he perceived that as inauthentic and guarded.
Yeah.
And so the ways that we show expression, I think, need to be pretty thoughtful, right? Because, we don't want to, someone shares something traumatic and we look shocked. That could be shame evoking.
Mm.
But there's also ways that we can show affect shifts to show that we're present and emotionally in tune.
Yeah.
So it's like client attunement, I think, would be, or emotional attunement. Melissa and I had talked about it on the podcast before. But that's where a lot of the relationship, I think, develops, is that emotional attunement. And it's hard to cultivate it if we don't have those human elements as a part of our interaction with clients.
Like yeah, if the client doesn't get a sense of your humanity,
Sure.
then it's kind of like the do you remember the like that famous Reese's monkey experiment?
Reese's, like chocolate?
I think that's, well, it's spelled like
Oh,
RHU
not
whatever.
Reese's, like the chocolate peanut butter
No,
cups. Okay.
no. Like there's they talk. You've probably read about it or talked about it in classes. A super famous experiment where they had these small cute little monkeys
Oh,
um, and then they had like um, I think they gave the monkey kind of like two choices, and one of them was like a sort of a simulated mother holding like a bottle, milk or something. And one of them had some like fur or something soft on it to sort of simulate more of like maybe the feel of the mother. And then the other one was just like wire. And
I vaguely remember this. Yeah.
And I'm probably even getting some of the details wrong, but like essentially, I think like it was like wire, and then you could get the bottle, or like you could just get like the comfort or something like that. But essentially, the like, they saw like, oh wow, like this monkey is gonna choose what feels like sort of the most motherly and nurturing, even if it doesn't get maybe like the nutrients it needs, or something like that.
Yeah.
I wish I remembered it more specifically, but like it reminds me of that, where it's just like the client is looking for realness, and like if you show up as this wire mother kind of because you're thinking that like relational safety for someone who's been traumatized or is trying to feel more secure in the world is like not feeding them very much, so they can sort of like take all the space or whatever, that like it's not safe if there are two people in the room with feelings, so you try to like pull yourself out. But that can actually create more anxiety, in a sense of like, here's an absent parent, here's a parent who doesn't take my concerns or worries seriously, right?
Or they could
Here's
feel like
someone who
they're
doesn't
having
care.
to perform or like carry the emotional conversation. Yeah, and then obviously there's the other end of that spectrum where a counselor is too much of themselves in a room. And so all these nuances in like counselor development, I think there's so much gray, and it's about trying to find like what the middle is in these ideas, because it can go to the other extreme where like I'm going to bring me into session, and then we're sharing our opinions,
Yeah.
or our ideals, our values, projecting them onto them. We're like talking too much about our favorite sports team or something. Like, remember I had this, she's going to be my supervisor. I was shopping around at their grad school, and I walked into her office, and it was like full of Clemson football shit. And I was just like, I got to get the fuck out of here. Like, this is awful. Like, she's like basically being like a peer support specialist, but she has a license. The way that
I
she
can't,
talked and
yeah.
interacted, I was like, I know way more about you in 5 minutes than I ever wanted to fucking know. Like, I need to get out of here.
I feel like it's kind of like the difference between like vulnerability, authenticity, emotional presence versus like personality.
Yeah.
You know?
Look at me.
Like versus like, it's like I'm here and I'm present and I'm with you as like a real feeling, caring human, and I have my own reactions to things which are different from that person's, because we all have different reactions, and I'm going to share some of those with you, like
Yeah.
as it creates a genuine connection, as it may be helpful for you. I'm not going to spend too much time filtering myself, because that could stifle what could naturally happen between us, versus like the Clemson football, and or as one of the other therapists in my training group talks about, like when therapy turns into a fireside chat.
A what?
He calls it a fireside chat, like, just sitting around the fire, like shooting the shit, talking about our days, talking about our opinions.
Or we're like we're gossiping in the pews.
Yeah. Like I feel like it's
more,
like that people can that those are it's different ways of.
If you are a therapist and your client comes in and you go, "Hey, girl," you're probably doing something wrong.
I don't fully agree with that, but I know what you're saying.
You won't believe what happened this weekend.
Yeah.
Plenty of therapists do that shit. They think they're rapport building.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And I think it's
like there's a difference
cheap way
in
of rapport building, though.
you don't need skills. I mean, you've acquired those skills in like the layman space of rapport building and relationship development. But where the fuck were you in grad school? Everything about grad school is how to develop rapport through a skill-based lens.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think my grad school taught that very well, but I agree that
that's the other problem.
Should be focused on.
Well, and that's what they always told us too, is despite all these different modalities, the only thing they found to create significance in terms of change measures is the relationship.
Right.
So,
but
probably
they
pretty
never
important.
At least.
Oh, I hear seagulls.
Yes, you're right. I'm close to the water.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so you hear seagulls. If we were at my in-person office, maybe
you'd be on the water.
And we'd be on the water, and maybe you would hear the waves.
So wild. That was I went to Seattle once, and I had never seen that. There's like these like houseboat communes, kind of.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
So that exists. You can also see that. I feel like it's even more common in Europe because they have these like canals, and like in Amsterdam, or I've seen them happens. They have I think it's in Berlin. Yeah. They have these clubs that are like just in a houseboat that's just parked. It's fucking sick. I never went. I didn't go to any of those, but it was like on my list. I was like, I want to go to that one club that's in that houseboat.
Yeah.
But in Amsterdam, you can just live in one of those canals, which is absolutely beautiful. I'm assuming you haven't been.
Not to Amsterdam, no.
And the houseboat is just parked there, just permanently, and you just live in that. Yeah.
They probably can't even drive them around there. I'd imagine the canals are pretty narrow.
They are very narrow.
So just build onto the water, and it's basically like a immovable floating house.
I mean, I'm sure you can move it. They don't have any reason to, and if you need to, you can, because you can travel through the canals, but they're very narrow. Yeah. Sidetrack. Seagulls.
Oh yeah. I don't know what you were talking about. I got distracted by the seagulls.
It's cool that you picked them up and you heard them.
Yeah. I'm not near. Well, I'm near water, but not an ocean, just a lake.
Yeah, technically it is. I think it's Commencement Bay, so it's technically a bay, but it feeds out into the ocean.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Does it smell like salt water there? You probably don't notice anyway.
Yeah, I'm like,
probably. At least brackish.
Maybe brackish, but it's that. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question of like, does it smell like that? And I've just become so used to it that I don't notice. Okay, no, it does, because I'm thinking about when I go to my office. I like, because as you know, my office is on the water, so when I get out of my car, I'm usually that's actually something I like to notice when I'm walking into the building, is just the smell of. Sometimes it doesn't smell that good because they're like seaweed and but I love that smell. Just to like look at the water or the waves, and then to like smell it, whatever you're smelling as you're going.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique space. Just in therapy, but you're floating on water. It's like you're on a little boat.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you don't get washed away.
So that's what you say. You make that joke when the client comes in. That's how you build rapport.
A little bit. The number of times I've learned over the last couple of years that that I have to be mindful of my laughter, like what I'm laughing at, because the number of times that something has happened in therapy and I've just started just like laughing really hard, not like haha, like
Yeah.
and my clients are like, what the fuck is she laughing? And it happens all the times because it's usually couples. I see a lot of couples, and like one of them will say something that is just, it could be like maybe a little hurtful, but just like sort of so true. Like I laugh at things that are just like true and also funny in their truth, right? Like if you don't have a lot of ego about something, you could laugh at yourself about like, man, I am actually really such a jerk in that way. And couples say a lot of really funny things. But when they're in the heat of the moment and it's like in the middle of some tension,
it's not funny.
It's not funny. They don't like recognize the comedy. And the thing is because I'm watching like the whole thing, I see it in the context of like whatever else has been happening in their relationship, their conversation.
Yeah, you're not having to defend anything.
Right. And I'm like, oh my God, that shit's fucking hilarious. And so I'll just start laughing. And sometimes actually it works really well because it breaks the moment for them, and then we're all laughing really, really hard about it.
Yeah,
But
maybe you should.
it doesn't.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck? Maybe you should incorporate like birthday hats and arguments as props sometimes.
I've thought about
or clown noses or something like absurd.
I've thought about getting like those little water squirt guns.
Yeah, start squirting each other.
And like being like either giving them both one and like coming up with a game of like, if you do this thing that you guys agree is like shitty that you both do, you get to squirt each other.
Yeah, it's like if you interrupt me or something.
Yeah, or I was like, or like, should I give them both one, or could that spiral out of control? Or maybe I just have one and I'm like, so guys, if you
you get you're
again,
the only
like,
one with
I'm gonna
squirt
you.
That sounds more fun.
I have thought about this, but I hold myself back because I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it just spirals somehow. But maybe I should.
If you could, the safer alternative instead of spraying clients would be to offer some kind of prompt where it like increases or it decreases the level of seriousness in the moment.
So clown nose, any other? Because I mean,
I think a party hat's probably the best.
Party hat?
Yeah. Like a happy birthday little like cone hat.
I could go to like Target or like the party store or whatever and just sort of pick out like a few items that just kind of bring me joy.
If a couple loses playfulness, they're in a bad spot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because there's contempt.
Yes.
And like seething resentment. And I think playfulness is like a form of vulnerability also.
It is.
It's like if there's all that harm or perceived harm, whatever it is, I'm kind of withholding playfulness as well because of the lack of trust.
Yeah, I don't want to play with you. I don't trust that you would play nice.
Yeah.
So I don't want to play with you. I don't want to share my toys with you.
Mm-hmm. Same shit. We're just adults now.
Yeah, well, that's why I've also thought about like, I like this because I might actually go and do this because I have thought about these things of like, that would be fun, or that would be fun. I've thought about like getting funny glasses from like the party stores, but like getting different colored ones and then having some kind of an intervention where I'm like, okay, like now put on your rose colored glasses. Right. And then I'm like, oh, that was not so nice. You have to take them off. Now you got to put on your, I don't know, like your green jealous glasses or whatever, just to make them realize, oh, you're in this lens now. Oh, you're in that lens now. Just thought about fun things like that.
Yeah, it could be also incorporated into parts work. So like based on the lenses you're actively putting on, it represents some part of you.
Yeah. You're very, very angry right now and defensive, or very loving, or very fun and playful. Or...
Yeah, you could, like, if they're defensive, you could ask them to put on like the open glasses, or the
Right. Yeah.
comforted glasses, or the safe glasses, or whatever to
Yeah.
counteract.
I also thought about, which this is too expensive, but like I've thought about how fun it would be to rent those the inflatable sumo suits.
Oh yeah.
And be like, now get in the ring, and now you gotta fight it out.
Yeah, you're gonna do it on the dock, and then they're gonna drown. Yeah, I don't have props, but I mean that's again it's something that's limited to in-person sessions. But I do think that it can be really powerful, and creating like more like symbols that aren't so abstract, like it's physical in the space. I think can create a lot of different like pruning in the brain that you can't do with just words alone.
Yeah, when they realize it's like words on the page, that there's something different that happens in your brain when you actually write something
Exactly.
down. For example, when you make this thought or idea in your head, it's like when you make it more tangible, it's like you're making it more real, right? And then when you make it more tangible and real and like touchable and seeable, and you can interact with this, like, like externalization, right? That I think it creates more, you can like manipulate it more, right? Like without falling into it. So there's like a certain level of detachment. I can look at it from this view, this view, this view. But I think it also just creates more acceptance, right? Because then the client is like, oh yeah, like I really have been thinking about that a lot. And it's like, yeah, that thought is real. And when we don't look at what, for example, is in your head that you're reacting to, right? And it's like you're not working with your inner reality.
It could also, with the glasses, it could get to a place where it provides tracking, but also for themselves. So they may begin to grab certain categorical glasses based on their own perception, which I think would be the growing element.
Right, that they develop their own awareness and they make it their responsibility or their job to track it, rather than to, which is very important, rather than to rely on the therapist to track, to start to take that job on for themselves, because that's the job they need to take on to be able to have a better relationship without the therapist, is that they need to realize, like, yeah, you have to track this.
Yeah, put the blame thrower down.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. I'm gonna use that.
It's not mine. I wish it was.
Well,
Can't
they
remember
took
who told me
it.
that. It was some old guy like 15 years ago.
Yeah, put that blame thrower down.
Yeah. Yeah, I have the past number of months I've had some couples. But I've had to be like, look, it's virtual, and I'm like, look, based on where you guys are developmentally, you have like I highly recommend that we meet weekly. I mean, I said in a perfect world we'd be doing like probably 2 sessions a week, maybe 3, based on where they are.
Ooh,
This is
that
just
seems
contempt and
happy.
resentment and like borderline aggression. Nothing like unsafe right now, but like what? Why is this so hard? It's not financial. It's the values. Oh, I have a work meeting. I'm like, listen, valuing work and making money is great, but you know how expensive a divorce is whenever you guys are hateful towards one another, why you get divorced? You wanna know how expensive that is?
I like tacking on if you're hateful while you're getting divorced, which is going to make the divorce way more costly.
I mean, yeah, if you're actively like seething with resentment and then you get a divorce, that's going to be real unfortunate for everybody.
I looked up the stats in the past year, and it's like the average divorce in Washington costs $13,000.
I think that's really conservative. You mean just the court costs alone?
This is just a Google search. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe I think it was kind of it was probably the court,
Court costs.
because it's going to cost a lot more than that in terms of like assets. Like if you're, if you have to sell the house and it's like a down market, for example, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think you should put that all on your website, honestly.
It's on my website. I did put it on my website.
How much it costs to engage with, 6-9 months of couples therapy versus a divorce.
Yeah. Well, there are so many other costs that are intangible that people don't see, and they're not thinking about, like the
child care or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, lost income over years, decades, for example, if the husband isn't supportive of the wife's career, right?
Yeah.
And so she doesn't excel, or they just don't do so well at work, relationally, or even job performance, because they're so consistently stressed by their relationship at home that their focus is affected. They're just a little bit more short. They're a little bit more tense. They just aren't creating really healthy, work relations. So these things are intangible, but they affect the career over years, decades, but nobody, looks at it or cares about it. I'm like, if you want to be fucking successful at work, be successful at home in your relation. If you want to do really well at work, you should put tons of time and energy into creating like a peaceful, fair, balanced, loving home environment where both people feel extremely supported in their hopes and dreams. And when they come home, it's a relaxing space, not a stressful space. You're going to get better sleep, right? The better you sleep, the better you perform at work, the better you relate to your partner. Like, create a peaceful, balanced, structured home environment, support the hell out of each other, and you guys are going to be crazy successful in work. Or maybe you don't make as much money, but like you're successful in all the ways that really matter.
Yeah, you're not miserable. Yeah, maybe you won't be miserable. What's the cost of that?
Yeah.
We should price that out for your website.
Yeah. It's hard. I don't know. It's hard to motivate people to want to do the kind of work that isn't shiny or like showing really obvious, immediate, tangible benefits, but which is the most valuable kind.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like really actually going to make them happy.
Yeah, I want to read you something. This was like a comment I saw on a group page that I commented on because they were suspecting a personality disorder in an adolescent, and I was just saying, like, someone threatening to harm themselves because they didn't get their way in adolescence is not enough to diagnose them with BPD, amongst other things I said. But yes, I'll read this real quick. When working with people who get under our skin, we have to let it flow through us into the earth. The therapeutic and relational process is exactly what you said, their world. You got a bird's eye view into it, that's all. You witnessed how she lives her life, but don't let yourself get sucked in energetically. Not getting sucked in is actually going to be healing for her on her psychic level. Stay with yourself, hold your energetic boundaries, and keep it moving. If parts of you are being activated, you can talk to them or get some personal therapy to help them heal. This can be a portal to healing for you too, in a way of you if you are triggered. I see triggers as gold.
Is that what you wrote?
No, this is I don't know who this is. But I thought I liked the part about you're observing the client's world. You're not in their world.
That's a very good comment.
Because if some client is like really chaotic or just toxic, it can be really easy to kind of be sucked in. Like, oh, I'm in their living room now, and I need to like figure out how to politely leave or something. Like, but also actually, it's like I'm on Google Maps and I typed in their home address. Like, chill the fuck out.
That's good. That's good. That's really good. It's so hard though, because with some of those, with some of them, and especially the more extreme ones, the more you stand your ground, the more they escalate, and they'll go very far, right? And they'll go to the places that where therapists will really begin to doubt themselves, because it's going to turn into a safety concern of some kind. And the hardest is to stand your ground when the client is escalating to a safety concern.
Yeah.
And to not cave and suddenly adapt, for example, the view that, yep, they were the victim here. Right? If that's, I am able to do it now, to like stand my ground in those really extreme client situations, even as I escalate more and more and more. And I know it's coming. I know they're going to escalate more. I know they're going to pull out all the stops. With people like that, they're usually pretty like emotionally kind of sensitive and like good at manipulating others. So they know you as a person. They know what will get you going. So they're even gonna hit at the points that they know that they'll get something out of their therapist. They'll get their therapist to collapse or cave, so it can feel extremely personal, because they are making it like that. And it's hard. It's the hardest to stand your ground when both of those things are happening, when the client is like emotionally kind of sensitive enough and knows you well enough to know your hot buttons where they can get you to do something they want, because everybody has it. And also when they're turning it into a safety concern where you as a therapist suspect or know that you have to act in some way in order to protect them or your license or whatever. And like that, the therapist's anxiety in that kind of a situation can be so high, right? Because they're like hitting you from every angle, and they want to get you to collapse. And it's
they're trying to bring you into their world.
Well, they're trying to make you part of their like trauma bonding process.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's only now that I can, and I won't say it with like 100% certainty, but I have enough capacity in me to stand my ground in those situations, like no matter how extreme it gets. But it's still challenging for me. Like,
well, it's harder too as a woman, because as a male therapist, I've never really felt physically. I mean, I've definitely, especially working in treatment, thought that maybe someone's gonna like try to sucker punch me. But I've never, like, I've always been like, I can handle it. Like, I'm not gonna be trapped in this room. Like, I didn't feel physically scared, which is not the case for women in therapy, I don't think.
It's not. I don't think I've ever felt physically scared, but
that's good.
But
I had one client. I saw him one time, and I have never had like a immediate visceral energy shift how I did with him when I met him, to where I was like, I'm pretty sure this dude kills people. It was like one of my first thoughts. And then he left. I never saw him again. And
you didn't have to, he just didn't come back.
And he drove off. It looked like the Jeepers Creepers van. It was the I've never even seen a van like this before. It was the creepiest fucking van I've ever seen in my life.
Would you have seen him again?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't report anything like that.
Right.
But the way that he conceptualized relationships and his energy was like, there's something super dark here. And I've had clients that I knew killed people that had better energy than this guy.
Yeah. I don't know if I've known if any of my clients have killed people. I can't think of any off the top of my head. And I think if I had known, I would be able to say that I knew. I don't think that's something you would forget. I wonder how many of my clients now or previously have killed someone that, like, I don't know about. Like, once you see a certain number of clients, maybe it's just an eventuality we as therapists see people who have killed someone. And I'm not talking about like in a wartime situation, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like how, like, around 50% of couples have had some incidents of like physical altercation or domestic violence that come to therapy.
Really?
But most of them, so like about 50% of couples who come to couples therapy have had at least one incidence of like of some kind of physical violence or domestic violence, which is why I do the work that I do, because it's just this like, anyways, they don't talk about it. They don't report it to the therapist. And so all these therapists are thinking like that these couples don't do this, but it's just kind of, it's like the lies we tell ourselves. So I wonder.
But like, also what happens if you say it in couples therapy when you go home?
What?
If you're getting hit or you have like some kind of violence history, you're not going to tell your couples therapist with the person in the session, because then it risks harm later.
Yeah, that's why couples therapists like see partners one-on-one sometimes, or do assessments with them like that if they suspect or.
But even so, I think like the trust has to be so high, because that's a huge risk to even tell a therapist, because some therapists may fuck that up, honestly.
Yeah. Like we fuck things up.
Yeah. Like maybe not disclosing it like, hey, she told me this, but like subtleties that we picked up on based on having that information. So, yeah, it's definitely got to be underreported. I can't imagine hitting someone like that. That's crazy.
The number of things that are like underreported in therapy.
Oh yeah.
Many.
I can say Boy Scouts didn't help a lot of dudes. I'm telling you, there's any client I've had where they start talking about Boy Scouts, I'm like, and you were molested in a tent. That is unfortunate.
You know, that's so sad. It actually makes me think of, I was in Girl Scouts, didn't have any of those issues. It was safe. It was a good experience. But it was so sad. I worked in wilderness therapy briefly after grad school, and there was this one week I was in a group. It was a group of boys, and it's got to be like one of the worst weeks of my life. This group was so freaking toxic. There was this one kid in the group who was like the devil. Like he was just on another plane of like, what is wrong with you? Like,
it's like a personality disorder or something.
I don't know. There was something broken, like the lack of empathy. There was something so deeply broken in this kid.
Antisocial or something.
Something. I have no clue. And he was like, it was such a depressing week, because he was so clearly, at least at that point in time, like a hopeless case. Like he He was not changing at all through the weeks that he had been there. There was like no remorse, no empathy. His therapist like was like, I don't know about, and because of the way these programs work, it's like the parents pay them tons of money and the kids go there, and like I don't know why, if it's the financial bottom line or something, but like that kid should not have been there because he traumatized the whole group. Like I was traumatized. Like we were all traumatized from being around this kid. I was losing my mind living in a group with this kid. It was the most toxic shit I've ever
It's like
been in.
probably an energy succubus too.
It was so bad. And I was so sad because near the end of the week, one or two of the kids told me that he had been exposing his genitals to them, that he that he was sexually harassing the other kids. And one of the kids told me, he said, like, I'm afraid to be in my tent at night. This kid had like peed on the other kids' tents, had like exposed his, and he was, and we didn't see it. Like he was doing it very intentionally when we couldn't see it, and you just can't see everything. And I was just so sad to hear like the degree and the level of harassment. This kid was fucking criminal. Like
I'm sure he's got some tense stories too, though.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's I think that's a.
I feel so bad for all the kids who were in the group with him, and I felt bad for the kid too, but it was really because he had I talked to him one-on-one, and there did seem to be, maybe there was some sort of seed of goodness or decency in him, it seemed, but you just couldn't even trust that.
Yeah, it's a valuable experience, though.
If it wasn't just part of the manipulation or what.
Valuable experience, though, because that's going to stop you from misdiagnosing personality disorders. Because that sounds like a legitimate one. It's like when you're exposed to someone with an actual personality disorder, it's like, oh, all these other things that I've heard about personality disorders, like those are a lot of times it's just like very mild iterations of like character traits. It's not this full-fledged, oh my God, I can't be around or conceptualize or treat this person. It's impossible.
Yeah, that's why I like to say like characteristics, right?
Yeah.
There are certain people who could seem in a moment like, oh my God, like, because some people have moments when you're watching them and legitimately you're like, that's a personality disorder. And they look like that, like in that moment, right? Mm-hmm. But it's this like continuity.
Has to be thematic. Yeah.
Right. The continuity or like the depth to it, right? Because trauma can look like a PD, right?
Yeah.
And in the right or the wrong relationship, like two people can look like they have a personality disorder and they don't.
Yeah. It's just a toxic relationship.
Really fucking toxic relationship. And you get them outside of it and you're like, oh, okay. You're just really actually pretty traumatized.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had to simmer down some parents with adolescent clients. It's this common pull where I don't think they know what they're paying me to do. I think that in their minds, and it's not vocalized this way, but in their minds, it's okay, I'm a parent and I need to pay this skilled person to be the third parent.
Yeah.
And maybe like I'm on behavioral patrol as a parent and it's not working. So if I get someone who's trained, they'll be able to control behavior and manipulate behavior of my adolescent. and it's very thematic throughout my work with adolescents. And
Do
so
you
it
work with a
becomes
lot of adolescents?
it varies, but I probably have 3 or 4 right now.
Okay.
But it becomes, obviously my client is an adolescent, but then I have to sell this shift in philosophy to the parent, because oftentimes their experience of previous therapists is that they were able to join with a therapist and assign some kind of motive for therapy. And
I don't understand. Can you?
like it'd be like, my kid's smoking weed,
Right.
make him stop, something like that. And it's comical because it's like often they've been to 2 or 3 other therapists, and those therapists join with the parent in trying to
I see.
regulate and manage and control the substance use of the
Right.
adolescent. It's like
Right.
wrangling the alligator. Like you try to
It
wrangle
sounds
one, it's
like
just gonna twist more.
it sounds like couples therapy with drug abuse. I see the same. It's the same thing.
Yep. And so I have to sell this idea that really what the therapeutic process is about, especially with the adolescent, because they fucking trust no one, is to establish that kind of trust and figure out ultimately what parts of them have been neglected that necessitate the dissociation in the first place. And if I come in and join with the parent or the previous therapist in this behavioral patrol model, I'm
I like that.
neglecting those parts of them immediately. And then
It's good.
there's relational rupture, zero trust. I'm like everyone
Yeah.
else. You don't understand me. Fuck you.
Right. And the bad thing is that it only makes the future work, if there is recovery, even more difficult, because it entrenches again for the idea that others are trying to control me. They don't seek to understand me. And the terrible thing is, I mean, it's bad enough when they get into that with their parents, but worse when now therapy is a tainted place, because now they're not going to, or they're going to be less likely to reach out for and access that care in the future. And then if they have a poor relationship with their parents who aren't attuned or caring or whatever, or just don't understand them, and they don't get that at home, and then they leave home, and then they have that model of relationship, and then they form that with their partners, and so then they're still not getting it there, and then they don't want to reach out to help for a therapist because they learned this is what a therapist is. It's so bad when we like fuck it up for a client reaching out for therapy in the future.
Well, I had to undo a lot of clients' experience of previous therapists.
Yeah.
Because they're like, when are you going to start having side combos with my parents and then coming in sharing very similar things that they just told me last week, but then telling me that you didn't talk to them? Like shit like that.
That's bad. It's just lying.
With adolescents too, it obviously depends on the character traits, but I've found, speaking of humanity, bringing our own humanity into the room, that arguing with an adolescent can sometimes be rapport building.
Yeah, I think that their hunger for like the rupture repair process is like even stronger.
Mm-hmm. It was like, oh, this is a real person.
Right.
Maybe I can trust him. If he's not a real person, definitely not going to trust him.
Yeah.
But I can do that in a way to where he doesn't know who I fucking voted for or what my mom's name is.
Right. Like, yeah, for now I'm just going to go with the balance between like authenticity versus like personality, bringing authenticity and humanity in versus like personality.
Yeah. It's like opacity without self-disclosure, something like that. I've read before.
No. I've moved away from adolescents and kids and just mainly couples and adults. But one of a really sweet client that I had was like 12 or something. And, and I don't remember what this was about in particular, but I made a bet with her in therapy. And there was something I was encouraging her to do, which she was saying like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't think that's going to work out. I think it's just a failed idea. And I was like, no, I bet this would work out. Like, I'm not going to force this on you, but I really think this would be a good idea. And so then I made a bet about candy. I was like, if I lose, I have to give you a candy bar. If I win, you have to give me a candy bar.
Did you win?
I think so. Yeah, I did.
Oh, damn.
And then when I won, I was like, fucking told you so.
Yeah.
She was really sweet. She's probably one of those clients I'll always remember. And it was really nice because her dad like told me, yeah, like she's been to several therapists and she just really likes you and like trusts you, more than any of them. And it was really awesome.
Most important part.
Yeah. And she was sad when I told her like I can't see you anymore because I was moving. And
well, that's the funny part about having a addiction specialization. Whenever the parents reach out about their adolescent using substances, is they think that I specialize in creating abstinence for adolescents.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a calling towards adolescents. I got a soft spot for them. I mean, I went into a lot of failed therapy as an adolescent, and they were often on this behavioral patrol model, or just like rural counselors that are very unskilled. And then 9 times out of 10, when I see an adolescent and I talk about their previous experiences, it's not good.
You've had a lot of good vocabulary today, or at least like that I appreciate. I really like the language of behavioral patrol model. And then the blame thrower is good. Very good.
Blame thrower, shame thrower.
Yeah.
Bleeding on people.
That was pretty good too. Sometimes I feel like I am with all my tears.
Have you seen the movie Coda?
No.
Child of Deaf Adult, I think is the acronym. That was the last time I cried. You should watch it.
I almost cried like 10 minutes before we logged on.
I thought you were going to say end this conversation.
No, I haven't gotten very close. A little slight bit, because it's the post meditation retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Like my sensitivity and my waterworks get really turned up, and are kind of like that way for a week or two after the retreat. But
you want to talk about that a bit, the retreat?
Sure. Yeah.
What was your experience?
I like that question. Thank you. That's a really nice question.
It's a therapy question.
It doesn't fit as well if someone asks me, what did you learn? Or like, what was your biggest insight? The experience that really fits very well because it's an experience, right?
That's what it is.
But anyways, yeah. What was my experience? My experience was one of more self-kindness and self-encouragement, which has been like an emerging theme in my life for maybe the past year or two. But my last retreat before this also had that theme too, but this is just even more. Mm-hmm. Because doing that is really, really difficult. I think it's the hardest thing you can ever do. And I'm so hard on myself as a person. And so I also had this sort of co-occurring theme of like seeing, I was just like blown away by how hard I am on myself. I was just like learning over and over again in deeper and deeper ways and being like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This goes so deep. This is so deep. Right. And so then I was like seeing that. And then I was also just really focused on just trying to be nice to myself and be like, like just do your best. And so I used a phrase that my business coach shared with me a few weeks ago when we were talking about affirmations. And I asked her for some to like help me with personal affirmations for me. And she gave me some. And then she shared one that her, speaking of addictions, that her sponsor shared with her. And then she shared it with me and she said, this one is personal to me. And she said, it's, you are doing great. And I think maybe because it was personal to her and she shared something that was personal to her that came from like a positive relationship in her life, and then she shared it with me, I just kept telling myself over and over and over again on my retreat. I just kept repeating it. I was like, you're doing great. You are doing great. And I'd be like, I'm doing great. You are doing great. And so when I came to these like hard moments where I was just distracted for hours on end, and I was like, I'm just not fucking meditating and getting mad at myself and like, your focus is shit and nah, right? I would just be like, you're doing great. Like, you're doing great. Just keep trying. Like, just keep doing. This is just a practice. You're just practicing again. Like, you're just practicing again. Okay, like, you want to take a break? Like, fine. Like, yeah, take a break. Like, just take a break for a minute. You distract. Okay, fine. Distract yourself for a minute, right? Because you're supposed to be meditating the entire time. It's not like, oh, I meditate for this hour and then I take a break. Like when you go and you're an experienced student, you're supposed to be meditating the entire time, or like you're trying to meditate continuously. And so I've taken that so literally and been like, Sandra, you have to meditate continuously and you have to be,
or you don't get an A.
Yeah. Or you don't get an A. And so when I had these moments of being like, I don't fucking have it, I would just push myself again harder and I'd be like, no, like concentrate, right? But this time I was like, no, like fine, just distract yourself for a minute. And then I'd be like, you're doing great. You're doing great. And it worked.
Yeah, that perpetual self-criticism can be another reenactment of neglect. So it's like a child part that feels unworthy or incapable, and then the parent's like, oh, okay, but I got to go back to taxes now, like figure it out. It's like we kind of lose that patience and tenderness and curiosity to the feeling itself. It's like, get back to work or get back to doing whatever this is getting in the way of. And the sad part is like often it really doesn't take, like the idea is, oh, if I pause and I reflect and I try to connect to this neglected part, then it's going to take 12 hours. It takes like 20 seconds. It's not
even two. You just say,
yeah, I mean it's not this huge rigorous process, but that's the lie. It's like, I don't have time for this part.
Yeah.
Which is why that part was probably created in the first place. It's quite ironic.
Well, when you talk about patience, tenderness, curiosity, like I didn't have a lot of that as a kid.
Yeah, me neither.
So when you say patience, like I could cry, right? Like I can feel a little bit of it. I can keep it back unless you say in too many nice words in one go, and then I might cry.
Yeah, but it's like a pining for that and a sadness to acknowledge that it was missed.
Yeah.
But and then realizing as the adult, it's like we can't walk around demanding others provide that. We can, but that's going to be very intermittent.
But then you're going to be in couple therapy.
Yeah, I mean it can happen, and people can provide that at times. But
That's
if you
true.
want a consistent way to be provided, that it's going to have to come from self.
Yeah.
But yeah, tracking self-criticism, I think, is huge. Just being more aware of when it's happening, and then finding out what those activators are, what the patterns are, maybe origins, and then processing, like, what are those emotional anchors that perpetuate the cycle in the first place.
It's so subtle. It's so subtle. So, like, something I've noticed is that when you talk about self-criticism or self-punishment or self-sabotage with clients, they are like, but I don't do that, right? And some of them don't, not like in that sort of extreme.
Yeah, like, fuck
form.
you suck. Yeah.
Right. So, like, if you talk about it like that, then they're thinking to themselves, oh, this therapist is talking about me having do I have an internal conversation with myself where I tell myself I'm such a motherfucker, right? But it's actually more subtle and deeper than that. Like,
yep.
I mean, I used to have some of those sort of like very explicit internal conversations. And I've noticed that as I have been healing, that I'm at the point where it's not even a conversation. Like, it's nothing that's verbal in words. It's not this really strong experience of aggression towards self. It's a really subtle internal process where I just push myself harder instead of giving myself a break. But that whole internal action, and that, like, not allowing for a break, not giving myself a little bit of a patience, right? Or a little bit of an understanding, comes from a place of like deep sort of like inner aggression and neglect. And so, no, like, it's not anything that, yeah, it's just, it's like, it's way more subtle than that for many people. It's like, oh no, you didn't actively criticize yourself there, but you did make yourself responsible for what somebody else did, what they actually did. And you're turning that on yourself and making yourself responsible for that. And you're not giving yourself, or if you did do that thing, you're not giving yourself any grace here and saying, like, I did it. That was a mistake. I'm a flawed person. It's like this immediate, like, zero break and then back to it, right?
Yeah, get back to work.
That's triggering. Like, I can feel it inside. I can feel it inside when you say it, because that's how I live with myself, right? So
Yeah.
if somebody says,
I'm just observing your world. I'm not in it.
fuck you.
Definitely not there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should probably work more.
I could try to give you a little bit of mine.
Give me assignments.
And then you give me a little bit of yours.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I work is to make money.
That's not true. You like your job.
No, yeah, I mean that, but I wouldn't be doing it for free just because. I don't know. I don't need I mean, I guess to an extent. I guess I was going to say, in a perfect world I have a part-time job. But I do have a part-time job. So
your practice.
Yeah. Although I did have to. I was on the phone for 2 hours or an hour and a half yesterday with fucking QuickBooks, trying to fix some clerical issue. Yeah. So that was work. It's unpaid labor.
If you had all the money that you needed to live, reasonably comfortably, right? Like, you can pay for your healthcare, you can get healthy groceries, you can live in a safe
Pay for my
place.
healthcare. I don't even do that now.
Yeah. So if you did, would you do counseling or some sort of like form of it? Not necessarily that you are a therapist, but there are things that you can do that are kind of related or have a similar feeling to them.
I don't think so. You're talking about like fuck you money?
Yes, I'm talking about fuck you money.
No, I wouldn't be working. Fuck that. No.
So if you had fuck you money, you would say fuck you.
Yeah, I would be traveling and yeah, no. I volunteer or something after a while, but I don't think I would do therapy. That's hard work.
It is hard work.
Yeah.
It is.
Like to continue to provide value is challenging when you're expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different if you're like, I remember I did have some insurance clients for a while, and there's a difference between, not always, but most of the time if you have like a private pay client, they expect like a certain level of care and attunement and specificity. Whereas with some insurance clients, I mean, their copay is $0. That has an effect on expectation and where they're going. You can't say it doesn't. It's $0. So as a private pay therapist, like you got to be fucking on. Like people are like, they'll be like, how do you maintain long-term, like how do you reduce recidivism, or not recidivism, like the dropping of
We're talking about prison, right?
Yeah,
Therapy's prison.
Drop the canceling of sessions, or how do you make sure that you have longer term care with clients that are private pay? And the answer is simple: you have to consistently provide value.
Yeah,
that's it. And I don't think a lot of people can do that very effectively, honestly.